What's up, team? So excited to spend just a couple minutes with you today. I am celebrating what God is doing through the Losing Your Religion series. The feedback has been positive. The messages have been meaningful. I've enjoyed them. Andy is up this weekend. We had 829 people so far text in to the Experience God campaign that is available on our app. That is a great resource to come alongside of your dream team, the team in your huddle, the people that you're working with, the people in your group, as a way of helping them not just think of God as a taskmaster, but as our Heavenly Father, experiencing Him more personally. It's another way to leave religion behind. This weekend, Andy is going to talk about how religion distorts our view of ourselves. And so it's going to be, I think, fun and powerful. Last weekend, we had over 900 people surrender something as they realize religion breaks relationship, and it specifically distorts our relationship with God. And so let's be prayerful about what God is doing in our hearts, in the hearts of our church, in the heart of our church, and that He would use this to accelerate the impact in our community and beyond. We do have a DreamTeam Celebration coming up. I'm excited about that. 335 people are registered for that. That is just another reminder. Thanks for getting people to lean in. And I think that celebration is an important time for us to take a deep breath, to celebrate and say thanks back to God for all that He's done, but also for us to mark moments. I don't always do this well. I imagine that's probably a staff thing. We're always moving on to what's next. It's just, I think it's going to be a life-giving, meaningful time for us to connect with God. And at our last staff meeting, I talked about the importance of leveling up. And one of the elements of leveling up is how do we increase our impact or continue to allow our impact to grow while at the same time balancing our personal life. So how do you balance work and accelerating your career with a personal life or a family life? If you work all of the time, then your family, your friends, your personal life begins to wane, right? Your family resents you for always being at work. And if you are at home all of the time and you're not providing for your family, you don't have the resources that you need in order to make ends meet, then your family probably wants you to work. And so in some ways, neither side is ever happy. It's like a lose-lose. It's how it feels sometimes. So how do we experience that? What you realize is that this work life, this work world, personal world tension is just that. It's a tension to manage, not a problem to solve. And so, you'll hear people say, well, I'm never going to sacrifice. And I believe this too. I don't want to sacrifice my family for ministry, right? I don't want that for any of you. I don't want that for me and my family. And yet there are seasons where I sacrifice some of my family time in order to get the work done. So is that okay? Should we never do that? Well, I was thinking about this after staff meeting, and here are a few things that have helped me sort through this or make sense of this, because you feel like you never get it right if you're not careful. So number one, probably 10 years ago at a leadership summit, Wayne Cordero talked about how he became a dead man running. He was so invested in work and trying to do it all that he ended up burned out, flamed out, and almost out of ministry in general. And what he realized is that there is no such thing as work-life balance. You never get the formula just right. And so he used the metaphor of a fulcrum. I'll flip it over this way. A fulcrum, in a teeter-totter, is the thing that holds the tension in balance. So if this side is work and this side is personal life, what we have to realize, here's the way that he framed it, is there are times where the pressure is on this side, and so we have to move the fulcrum or the focus there. But if it's always there, the reality is there's going to be other times where your family needs that focus too. And so the goal is learning how to move the fulcrum to what's important right now. So here's what that means for me. When I'm sitting around the table having family dinner, I'm not also trying to check email and respond to email. And we try to preserve family dinner time. We try to keep that space sacred. And yet there are nights, like when I was running Alpha, where I wasn't at home for family dinner. There was a season for that. And so I would say pay attention to where the fulcrum is. There are seasons where I'm working more, and then there are other seasons where I'm able to take some more flexibility with my work. So fulcrum, pay attention to where the pressure is. And if it's always on one side at work or always on the other side, you're always feeling pressure at home, then that's an invitation to begin to talk to someone about it. A few years ago, here's number 2. A few years ago, I was hanging out with Kenton Beshore, Mariners Church, the church that created the Rooted curriculum, if you're familiar with that. He has 4 kids. Almost all of them are grown adults in ministry. They have a great family relationship. And I said, how did you do it? Like, how did you navigate ministry in a big church, like a mega church, a church that is in California? And he said, which I was surprised, he said, I gave up trying to be the perfect parent. Especially when you have like 3 or 4 kids, you just realize you're not going to make it to every game. And you're not going to be emotionally available for every need that your kids have. You're not going to be the perfect parent. And so stop trying. He says, from his perspective, that trying to be the perfect parent can oftentimes create more anxiety and dysfunction than just acknowledging your own limitations and inviting God to come into some of that space where you don't get it right. But being a present parent when and where you can matters far more than trying to be a perfect parent. And that was helpful. It's like, oh, yep, I missed that. I'm sorry. Like there was a trip that Lauren and I were on, and we weren't home for one of Sam's birthdays, which, we had a great party when we got back, and it was a trip that we had planned. We knew it was his birthday. We missed the actual day, and we acknowledged that. Yeah, sorry we missed your birthday. Here, we're going to make it sure that this party is special. Was it perfect? No. Did we navigate that season? Great. Is Sam going to be in therapy about it someday? Maybe. But we laugh about it. Not laugh about it, but, it doesn't even really come up that much. But, that's just an example. It's like you're not going to be a perfect parent. So be a present parent. Be authentic. And when you mess up, keep the gap between the mistake and the apology really short. Number 3, Greg Surratt told his kids when he would leave to go into the office, he would never say, I'm going to church. He would say, I'm going to work. Even though he was a lead pastor of Seacoast, he told his 4 kids, I'm going to work today. Why? Because most parents go to work. And if you say I'm going to church today, like it's the church, number 1, church isn't work. It's the body of Christ. And so we miscommunicate the theology of what church is. And number 2, we potentially put church in the role of keeping dad or mom from home when it's really work. And every child has to wrestle through parents that work, or a mom that works, or a dad that works. I mean, a few of you are stay-at-home parents, or you know someone who is a stay-at-home parent, which is great. There are other challenges that come with that, but I think that important language nuance was really helpful for us. So we just tell our kids, we're going to work. And when they're like, you always have to go into work, it's like, yeah, a lot of parents have to go into work. And the truth is, my kids at this stage in their life, they seem to like hanging out with us. They like it when we're around. So of course, they're going to miss it when we're away. And so we just, we don't like rub it in their face. In fact, I kind of celebrate that they miss me for a little bit. And we just try to clarify that. The last one, I don't remember where it came from, but the advice was every time you experience a benefit, like I had flexibility during the week, so I could go on field trips with my kids. I would look at my kids and say, hey, I just want to let you know, one of the reasons I'm able to go on this field trip is because of where I work. I have flexibility during the week in a way that other people don't. And so I just wanted you to know that's one of the perks of the job, because I know some Saturdays and Sundays, I'm not always around. But I'm really glad I get to hang out with you in this experience. And that's meaningful. Every time you get a bonus or a raise, you come home, I come home and I say, hey kids, our church values us, our workplace values us so much that they have, put this into our family's life. And we thank God for it, but we also thank our workplace. So every benefit, feature it in front of your kids so that they get to see some of the unique perks that you get to enjoy, even if it feels like they're not able to get everything that they want. And so those are just some tidbits that I think are helpful. One of the summit speakers that I think is going to help us address this is Arthur C. Brooks. He's a Harvard professor. He's written a powerful book called From Strength to Strength. It's been influential in a series of the churches that I've interacted with. And this past year, he released a book called Build the Life That You Want. It brings, he's a follower of Jesus, and he brings to the book the things that keep us from being happy, the emotions that keep us disconnected from happiness, and then he helps outline the rhythms that lead to more happiness and fulfillment in your life. One of them being build your imperfect family. Our families are never going to be perfect. That doesn't mean we don't build and invest in them. Another principle is like, don't think of you or yourself all of the time. Don't think less of yourself. Just don't make yourself the focal point of everything that you do. So I'm looking forward to some of the ways that he is going to build wellness and thoughtfulness, holistic thinking into our life and leadership. I think he's going to help us level up. And hopefully some of these principles will help you and me as we level up in this next season together.